Hey crafty people, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd, because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. Over the years I've dabbled in most types of crafting, although for the past decade or so I've been doing primarily card making and mixed media art. I've recently embarked on a junk journaling journey that I hope you'll join me on. So today we are going to work on a journal topper for a random autumn journal. This is not one of the journals in the trio of autumn journals playlist that I've been working on. And I also have some exciting news. Let's get crafting. So in addition to the trio of junk journals that I've been working on in the video series, I am working on a bunch of additional autumn junk journals. And so this is one of the journals I am working on, and I want to create a journal topper for it. And I'm going to use some corrugated cardboard. And this is just a random scrap piece from, I think it's when I created my faux fireplace, possibly. But I am going to cut a piece of the cardboard to size. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. And then this one's got a little start going, but I'm going to peel off one of the layers and expose the corrugation. I think I'm gonna grab this to kind of help get up underneath. So any kind of thin tool you can kind of wedge in between the corrugation to kind of help you peel up some of the paper. And this is a little longer than I need, so let's cut it off about there. Let's pull off a little bit more of the top layer of cardboard. Just kind of see, you can see where the corrugation is. And so I'm just sticking in the tool and peeling up some of that top layer to expose the corrugation. So that will be like that. I think I like the amount I've got going, so we're going to stop there. I'm going to set the journal aside, and I'm going to grab my palette and my brayer and some gesso. I'm going to put some gesso on the palette. And I'm going to take my brayer, and I know I've got a lot on here, but I'm probably going to do a few more of these. So I'm not too worried about having too much of the white gesso. And I'm just going to add a little gesso to this piece. And I think that's good. And I'm going to set it aside to dry. and work on a few more of these pieces. And this was inspired by This was inspired by Gail Agostinelli. So next I am going to add a little bit of orange using my brayer, and I didn't exactly have, I grabbed my distress paints, but I didn't have quite the color I wanted, so I mixed ripe persimmon, rusty hinge, and some wild honey. And I'm just going to brayer a little bit of orange on. And I also want to add some blue, since this is going to go on a journal that's got a navy blue cover. So I've got Blueprint Sketch, but I'm thinking that's going to be a little too bright. So I'm going to add just a touch of black soot. Touch of black soot was not a touch small enough, so just adding a little bit more of the blue. And I'm feeling the orange is a little too bright orange. Like, this is feeling very Florida Gators to me. Being someone who lives in Florida, you know. That's what orange and blue tend to signify. Even though I'm not into football at all. So I think that's good for this step. I'm gonna let this dry. So next I'm gonna add some splatters of Distress Mica Stain, and I'm gonna use Fallen Acorn. And I'm just pulling the top out and splattering that way. And I'm going to set this aside and let that dry. Okay, so our piece is all nice and dry. And I don't know if you can see the sparkle from the mica spray stains, but this is ready for the finishing touches. And I've got a piece of like autumn deco mesh stuff that I picked up at Joann's, like a huge roll of it. And so we're gonna put that down first. And I'm gonna just add a little along the edges, and I'm using FabiArtStudio, which I've got in a Sweet Sugar Bells bottle because it's easier to squeeze and has a more precise tip than what FabiArtStudio the bottle it comes in. So I'm just gonna put it along the edges to prevent any further fraying of it since it's been cut. And then put some kind of here in the middle where I'm gonna glue it down. And I accidentally left the cap off this last night, and so I think it might be a little clogged because that stuff does not want to come out this morning. All right, we're gonna push that down. And I'm gonna go let a dog back in. Now next I am gonna add my focal piece, which is this little cutie squirrel. Since the cover fabric has woodland critters, I'm gonna put a squirrel on the cover. So he's gonna go there. I've got the FabiArtStudio out, and we're gluing over a fabric-like substance. We're just gonna use that. And I'm being sure to get it along the edge because you don't want your edges lifting up, especially since this is going to be on the cover. So, and in case I didn't mention, this is a printable from the Junk Journal Studio. And then we are gonna add my on screen. Let's pop out that one. This is a flower I crocheted I don't know how long ago out of yarn. And so it's been sitting in my stash forever, and I just added a pearl to the center. And so we're gonna put that guy right there. And then I grabbed a couple other flowers for my stash. I have had these forever. It was one of those things I bought because I just loved the look of them. But since I was making cards, they didn't really work with any of the cards because they're so dimensional. So they have just been sitting in my stash. So we're gonna go ahead and use these guys. And let that dry for a minute. Now, for the other side, which is kind of plain and boring, I took a piece of comic book board. And you know what? I just realized I was planning on inking the edges of the squirrel and forgot to do so. Okay, well, guess the edges aren't getting inked. I am, however, going to ink the edges of this piece. And I'm going to use some gathered twigs because, once again, my vintage photo is on the other side of the room. So I'm just going to do this so that there's no white showing along the edges of this. This is a printable by luiseHeinzl. I'll leave links for both printables down below. And I just put it on a piece of comic book board to give it some stability. Because what we're going to do is grab some ribbon and sandwich it between this piece and this piece to serve as our topper. And I need to sliver a little bit off this piece. It's a little too wide. So I'm going to do that first. Let's double check and make sure we're good. I'm going to take a little bit more off because I'd rather have some of the cardboard showing on the back than the white of the comic book board showing on the front. double check that. And yep, we're good there. It's not gonna show. Gonna re-ink the edge I just cleaned up. And we'll put that aside for a sec. Grab this piece, our journal, and she is a chunky monkey. But that's okay. I kind of like chunky monkeys. And I've got, this is some ribbon that I picked up from Michael's. And what we're gonna do is grab, there's it, this piece. We're gonna just decide how long we want it, and we may want most of this. So I think that's good. We can, let's see, let's do a test tie and see. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm gonna cut my piece of ribbon, and then to add even more interest, I was gonna grab this one and put it on, although I'm thinking the white's too white for me. So maybe instead, ooh, we'll just do this guy. So what I'm gonna do is take my ribbon off, set that aside. So I'm gonna take the blue and glue it onto my orange ribbon. So let's do that. And I'm also gonna add a little bit of glue at the end to keep this from fraying. So I'm just gonna do that, which will keep the ribbon from fraying. And now I'm just gonna run some glue down the center. And we're gonna snip off the edge over here. And again, add a little bit of glue on the edge of the piece we just cut to keep it from fraying any further. And we're gonna bring back our journal and this piece, and we're gonna decide how we're laying the ribbon out. Thinking like so. Let's get it kind of even. And so what I'm gonna do now is run some glue across here. Like so, and then put glue. Now that we've got the ribbon placed, we can move the journal out of the way so we don't get glue all over it. And we're just gonna add glue on top. Now I'm gonna let that dry before I tie it on, just because I don't wanna pull the top piece off accidentally. And when it's dry, I will show you how it looks on the journal, and we'll also do a flip through of the journal, and I will tell you my exciting news. So here's what the journal topper looks like all finished. And we're going to do a flip through of this journal while I tell you my exciting news. So my exciting news is that I've opened a shop to sell some of the items that you've seen me making here on my channel. The shop is on Ko-fi, which is ko-fi is the website. There'll be a link in the description box down below. There will also be a link on my About page on my YouTube channel page, so if you go there you can find the link there as well. Or if you go directly to Ko-fi, you can search for Craft Nerd Creates and that should take you to my shop. And I'll be placing things in my shop as I get them finished and they're available. In addition to this journal, there'll be another fall journal that I'll do a quick flip through of at the end of this video as well. I've also got packs of fabric clusters up and some Christmas cards. And there are a few other things that I've made this year on YouTube videos that'll be going into the shop. I just haven't gotten them posted yet. Hopefully sometime this week they'll be up. But I believe you can follow me on Ko-fi so that you'll get an email notification when I add things to my shop, I think. Unfortunately, based on the costs of international shipping, I'm only going to be selling to buyers within the US right now. But if you do live outside the United States and are desperate for a craft nerd creation, please just send me an email and we'll see if we can figure something out. But yeah, looking at it, the cost for shipping overseas is astronomical. So please check out my shop on Ko-fi. I'm hoping that I can sell some of the things I'm making. Otherwise, my YouTube creations are going to take over my entire house. With regards to this junk journal, I used a variety of different digital kits in the making of this project. I will leave a list of them down below. If there is a particular page, image, item, as we're going through the flip through, that you want to know exactly which kit it came from, please just leave me a comment down below asking and I will let you know which kit it came from. I've also used a variety of coffee and tea dyed papers and I've got a couple videos showing how I do that. I'll leave those linked down in the description box below. I've also included in this a bunch of projects that have been created as part of the trio of autumn journals playlists that I have going on, and I'll leave a link to that playlist down below. I've also done some stamping, sometimes to create the backgrounds on digital pages, sometimes just to accent a plain page. I've also used stenciling on some of the ephemera added into this journal. I've also incorporated some ribbon down the sides that I got at Michael's, some ruffles that I created with spare fabric from the flannels that I bought for making covers, or from ribbon from my stash. I've topped the tags with some seam binding that I dyed using distress inks, and also some trims that I got at Purple Paper Mountain on Etsy. I'll leave a link to that shop down below. If you have any specific questions about anything I did in this journal, please just leave me a question down below. I'm more than happy to tell you more about what I have done. Oh, and I almost forgot I added some charms to the center strings from the binding of the book. So this is the Squirrel Toppered Junk Journal, and it's up now in my Ko-fi shop if you want this journal to be yours. And now here is the other autumn journal I have created with a pumpkin topper. And I'll do a real quick flip through of this journal. It's very similar to the other one in how I created it and the elements I've included. The one main difference between these two, other than the papers used and, you know, the ephemera and all of that, is that this journal has a total of 72 pages, not counting the bags sewn into the signature and like the doilies and the coffee filter. I didn't count those as pages. And the other journal has a total of 80 pages. Again, not counting the bags and such in that total. And so this journal is also up in my Ko-fi shop as well. So if you would like to own this one, head over there and check it out. So as I said, I now have a shop open on Ko-fi. Please do stop in and check it out. And if you want, one of these journals could be yours. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.